Welcome to the September reading wrap up. I am back in my armchair for a little cozy reading wrap up for you all. I don't have a cup of tea today, I've got a smoothie because it's somehow like 20 degrees out and I'm filming this in October, so that's brilliant, isn't it? Love a bit of global warming. Welcome back to those of you that know me. If you're finding me for the first time, my name's Charlotte. I'm trying to read 100 books this year. I can't remember exactly what I'm on, but I'll tell you in a sec. And this is going to be my September reading wrap up with some reviews. I have filmed these videos monthly for the whole of 2023 so far, so there is a little playlist which will be available at the end if you want to catch up and see what I've read. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really enjoying my side part today, but my hair's like a little bit too greasy to do anything else, so we're just gonna have to persevere. That has nothing to do with reading, but you know, I just thought I'd throw that in. In the month of September, I've managed to read 7 books. Honestly, I thought I was going to do a lot less. We were off to a pretty bad start. I basically was stuck on 2 books till like halfway through September. I thought I'd be lucky if I made 4 this month. I finished my second book on September the 19th, so I really did some damage in those last like 10-11 days. As far as my 2023 reading challenge goes, I've got 57 books read so far and 20 books till I'm apparently back on track. I did 75 last year, so only like 25 books extra. We might as well get reviewing. My first book was a Kindle Unlimited read, and it was Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This is a fiction romancy style of book, and for me it gets a 3.5 out of 5 stars. To very briefly summarize, we have our kind of like hot but slightly neurotic London socialite, Magnolia Parks, and we have our kind of GQ influencer, like tattooed bad boy, BJ. Yes, his name is BJ. Took me a long time to get past that. They're not together officially. He broke her heart in a really horrible way a long time ago, and they've basically been in like a horrible toxic situationship since. She publicly dates other people to hurt him and try to get over him, and he is publicly fucking other people to get back at her. We've all been there, haven't we? No, actually, you're right. No, I never have. I really get what this book is trying to do. It's trying to give London Gossip Girl-esque, very Chuck and Blair energy. For the first like 3 or 4 chapters, I actually found the writing style like really hard to get into. I did actually speak to a couple of people I know who have read it, and they said that that first kind of writing style bit at the beginning was quite hard to initially move past, but once they did, it was all right. I do get the Chuck and Blair energy, and I'm going to try hard not to draw comparison too much to Gossip Girl in this series, although I feel like that's quite unavoidable at this point. I am a big Chuck and Blair fan. If Chuck and Blair have 0 fans, I am dead. But I found them really unlikable, and I wasn't even finding myself particularly warming to them, not even by the end. I do like Magnolia a lot more than I like BJ. BJ is so almost likable, but I just can't get over like what he's done to her. He's just so horrible. Even then, Magnolia is really hard to like. Just when I think I'm gonna like her, she just fucking irritates me. Generally, I actually really enjoy the strange and like slow lingering moments of tension they have, because you get to really see their connection and like why they're so drawn to each other, and I love a slow burn, so that's kind of good for me. But that being said, overall I find it really hard to come to terms with the whole premise and that they keep being drawn back to each other because he has treated her so badly. I find it really hard to enjoy media, books mainly, but also like films and TV shows where men constantly emotionally hurt women like over and over again. Like I find that really difficult, especially when it's a woman that like, it's a good woman, it's a woman that loves them. And I do understand there is some element of like tit for tat in it, because she ends up like hurting him in multiple ways. It's all just a big retaliation, and I know that it's supposed to be like, well, I've done it, I've given as good as I've gotten, but also if he hadn't have done that in the first place, none of this would have happened. It gets a half star because I was very hooked once I'd kind of made it past the halfway point. Like I was very invested and I was clearing through it, and very much by the end I was literally like, it is a very Gossip Girly feel, and to be honest I'm not really sure how well that translates into a book, but once you get past like initially how fucking obnoxious it is, I think it's quite a fun little treat of a book. I don't know if I'm going to read the second one because it's not about BJ and Magnolia directly. It's about one of the like adjacent characters, and then the third book I think is about BJ and Magnolia. I'm not that invested in this second character, so I think I probably will read the book down the line, but just not straight away. My second book of the month, and the one that took me all the way up until the 19th of September, was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Absolutely beautiful cover, really nice and colourful. This is a fiction book, and it's a very reluctant 3.5 stars from me. Now, I'll tell you for why in a second, because I was quite disappointed that I rated this lower than I was expecting to, but let's do a brief synopsis. So Sam and Sadie are childhood friends after Sadie met Sam in hospital when her sister was there. That's a lot of S's for someone with a lisp. They are college students when they reconnect again after bumping into each other in a train station, and then from here on there continues their friendship, their relationship, and their professional relationship. This is a very kind of push-pull, will they, won't they, test of time relationship book. This book is a bunch of events that start off really, really promising, and I really, really wanted to enjoy it after so many rave reviews. I've been waiting for this to come out in paperback for quite a long time because I don't like hardback, and I just started seeing it everywhere. So many of my friends are recommending it. So many people started recommending it and messaging me and asking me about it. As someone that really enjoys playing video games, and video games have like greatly impacted my whole entire life, and I still play them, I really enjoyed the insight into the gaming industry and the plot of friendship and love and connection that was woven in with the gaming plot, like an insight into how all of those 3-4 things can coexist. To be honest, I enjoyed the first half of the book in its entirety. I enjoyed seeing disability discussed in like a very true and honest way. However, I just thought Sam and Sadie ended up being absolutely fucking insufferable. There was no character development, and I know that is kind of part of the will they, won't they, but I just really didn't enjoy the second half of the book. It felt very stagnant, like I was just waiting for it to finish. Nothing particularly happened. It felt too long. I understand their relationship's very complex, but I just felt like Sam ended up feeling entitled to Sadie. Call me boring, but just like poor Marks. Like, I don't know. Marks was like the one character I thought that showed like amazing character development, like from who he was at the beginning to who he was at the end. And then, yeah, it just felt too long for me as well. I was just waiting for the book to finish and kind of like have it over with. It's a shame because this book has loads of rave reviews, so clearly it's just like something about the book that I didn't connect with, but it was like almost really good and then it just wasn't. My third book read was also a physical book, and it was Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. This is a queer thriller slash horror, like very soft horror, and this gets a 5 out of 5 stars for me. So Leah returns to her wife Miri after a deep sea expedition that's gone like horrifically wrong. Except Leah has not fully returned, and there is something very, 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 very wrong with her. So first of all, sapphic horror that's about the ocean. Yes, please. I absolutely loved this book. Very claustrophobic, very poignant, and quite sad at times, I thought. Not like crying sad, but definitely some like moments of feeling blue, for lack of a better phrase. The perspective changes chapter to chapter, which I actually really enjoyed. It was a little bit juddery to get into, but once I was in it I really enjoyed it because I felt like it kept me really hooked. Like I cleared through this so fast. It was a very intriguing read. The imagery was gorgeous, like the kind of visual of Leah's lifelong obsession with the ocean was just played out really nicely, and I'm obsessed with the ocean and I love the sea, so that was really nice for me to read. The pacing was really good. The tension in the horror builds in like quite a slow way, but like I hate to say it builds in like an intimate way. I don't mean intimate like sexually, but it builds in a very like close proximity way. Like you feel like you're in the 4 walls of their flat with them. I enjoyed the way as well, let me find it. So the book is like paced out into 5 sections as well as chapters. So you've got the sunlight zone, then you have a section called the abyssal zone, and then you have the Haddle zone. It's basically like different areas of the ocean, like the twilight zone. I thought that was really interesting because obviously it just gets progressively more ooky spooky. I would say that it's not like an outright horror, like it's not a horror book. It's definitely like leaning into horror, but it's that kind of horror that is a dealing with the unknown kind of energy that just unspools into like such a delicious read. Like I love that kind of like fear of the unknown horror. Yeah, it just makes it a really like delightful, delicious, like unraveling read that you just want to know what happens next. So yeah, I can't say any more than other than I love this book. My next and fourth read was a Kindle book. I didn't borrow it. It wasn't a Kindle Limited. I did actually buy it. And it is called The Tale of Emily Winap, and it's by Liz Kessler. This is a children's fantasy / fiction book. I promise I will explain in a minute. And this gets a 4 stars for me. Young Emily Winap lives on a boat with her mother. Her mum never lets her in the water. She's not allowed to go to swimming lessons. She's not allowed like in the sea. And she soon discovers it's because she's actually half a mermaid. So following Our Wives Under the Sea, very, very different ball game, but still ocean themed. I was thinking about books I used to read when I was younger, and I had this like really visceral memory of a girl that was like half mermaid in her swimming lessons. It was one of my favourite books when I was younger, and I finally looked it up and I figured out it was The Tale of Emily Winap, and I just thought, fuck it, I really want to read it. I just want like another nostalgic moment. You know me, I've been big on doing this for the last couple of months, rereading books that I read when I was younger. I must have read it when I was about 10, 11. I absolutely loved it. I mean, it is a kid's book, so I don't know if any of you as adults will read it, or if you have kids, you might want to read it to your kids. But I essentially just read it for nostalgia's sake. I was on an ocean themed vibe, and after such a slog of like tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, I just didn't really want anything long. I just wanted like short, sweet, simple books to clear through. So book 5 was another Kindle Unlimited, and it was How Does It Feel by Janine O'Reilly. This is a kind of like a dark romance fantasy, and it is book 1 in a series. This is Infatuated Fae book 1, and this gets 4 stars out of 5 stars to me, and I'm going to tell you why I'm laughing. I posted this on my Instagram story, and so many people were like, oh my god, I saw a review for this on TikTok, I need to watch it. I saw the same review, the one where she's screaming and she's like, what the fuck, and she's like slamming the book on the counter. I had to go read it. What else could I do? So we have our female MC, Callie. She's like an environmental scientist, or like some kind of like animal science. She's off out mushroom picking. I don't know why I'm telling this like it's gossip, but she's off out mushroom picking, and she's looking for a rare kind of mushroom, some kind of project she's doing. It all goes horribly wrong. She falls through a portal straight into the arms of an unseelie prince. He is 100% convinced that she is an assassin that has been sent here to kill him. We all saw the TikTok review, and forgive me because I'm just going to take off my criticism hat for 1 minute to say that I really enjoyed this book. Were some bits of this book incredibly cringe? Yes. Did the male protagonist Mendax have next to no redeeming qualities? Also yes. Did I enjoy the book? Pretty much yes. So first and foremost, I think Callie, our main character, is a little bit of a pick-me. She is constantly referencing her super tiny but curvaceous frame and her bright blonde hair, and then also in the same breath is like constantly bewildered at the attention that her beauty attracts. This combined with like her natural affinity for wildlife and animals, like loving her, it's getting a bit too Disney princess-ish for me. There was quite a lot of criticism online that the first half of the book felt really drawn out and like purposeless. I didn't really feel that, but I didn't really realise that it was the first half. Like I didn't click on the percentage thing, but I was also speeding through it. I was binge reading quite a lot. I do think there were some points that were maybe more drawn out than they needed to be, and there was a few moments where I was like, that is really super duper cringe, but because I was just speeding through it, it didn't really like register. Second half was a lot better. Mendax and Callie's like enemies to lovers kind of burn is absolutely fantastic. Like I really enjoyed that. It is mostly enemies for the majority of this book. If you've read Akatar by Sarah J Maas, you'll understand what I mean, that this book is very like heavily Under the Mountain vibes, like kind of Nightmare Court, lots of dingy, dank, horrible creatures, lots of trials and tribulations for our heroine. This is not a spoiler at all, but I think if it wasn't for the very good TikTok review combined with an absolutely insane ending, I wouldn't have given this such a good rating. I don't think I would be as invested. I couldn't tell you if this book was good. I just think it's so popular and highly rated because it is such an experience to read it. like a good experience or a bad experience, who knows, but it is, you have to go through the whole book to get what I'm saying and be like, what is going on? So the penultimate book I read this month was called Flock by Kate Stewart. This is also on Kindle Unlimited. It is part of the Ravenhood books, and it is book 1, and it is a dark romance. This book is sat somewhere between a 3.5 to a 3.75, and I'm gonna lean more towards 3.75. So Cecilia's father is a CEO, and to gain access to her trust when she turns 18, a condition of that is her moving back to Triple Falls, which is where he lives, to work a year in a plant he owns. So she meets Sean and his little group of friends, and she's blown away by, I guess, their culture, their life, their secrecy, their like code they have a lot of secrets, and she's gonna need to earn their trust to carry on hanging out with them, basically. This is a dark romance, like reverse harem, so there is like another man in it that's like another element of the story, like a big element of the story. This book is fucking crazy. Some Band of Brothers bullshit. This is like supposed to be a kind of Robin Hood style retelling, like a take from the rich, give back to the poor kind of energy. For the most part, I really felt for Cecilia. She's got this whole kind of never had a father figure, so now really struggles to get love in the right places kind of vibe. And she meets Sean, and he's like the sunny, sunshine, golden boy. He becomes a bit cryptic about this secret they all have. They essentially all have this raven tattoo. It's kind of giving like fuck the system anonymous vibes. I did really enjoy it because I enjoyed the Sean, Dominic, Cecilia relationship for the most part, but it got really confusing because this secret they're constantly referencing, this is what the book is built around, this whole secret, this kind of like almost cult-like gang style thing. I found Sean's cryptic answers really unlikable and like a bit holier than thou. I definitely connected more with Dominic than Sean as a character. When there's like a reverse harem or like a polyamorous situation in a book, I always prefer the slightly moodier, grumpier character. Cecilia being such an emotional character like literally made me feel like my emotions were like up here all the time. Like I felt her panic, I felt her absolute chaoticness. She's a little bit unhinged. She is just an 18-year-old girl that I think the men kind of are playing her a bit. That's what I felt like. I felt like they were putting her to the test. Felt like at some points they were using her, and she's just acting absolutely unhinged, and it made me feel crazy reading it, but I kind of respect her for it. I do not agree with all of Cecilia's decisions, but I do feel her frustration like palpably. It's really upsetting to read. I know that's really not much of a review, but I just didn't really know what to say about that book. Like I couldn't really put it down, and I don't know if I liked it, but I did go on to read the second book, and that's the next book I'm going to review. So book 2 in the Ravenhood series is called Exodus, and this is also by Kate Stewart, of course. Again, a dark romance, and this book gets 4 out of 5 stars for me. Without giving too much away, this book is set like maybe 6 years on from the events that took place in book 1. Cecilia's moved out of Triple Falls, and they're all in different places now. She's feeling like she's left literally who she is behind, and she has to go back to Triple Falls to make peace with it. Now bitch, this book made me fucking weep. I cried like 4 or 5 separate times in this book. What the hell? This book like emotionally destroyed me, and I still don't know if I like this series of books. I've just rated them highly because they made me feel. Because I read them back to back, I kind of forgot that I did cry in the first book as well. The ending just like shocked me so much. Yeah, this actually finished me. I need to read the third one, but I'm just not really ready for it to end yet. Tobias is everything I want. Dominic and Sean is everything I want. I just don't know. I don't have the luxury of choice. I feel like genuinely when I was reading this book, I feel like this can't be fixed. Like I don't even know. Like it's rocked me. I couldn't tell you anything about the writing really, other than that I do think this book is way more confusing than the first one. The overarching theme for this book is that it like ripped my heart out. I started crying about a third of the way through, and I just basically didn't stop till the end. There was a review I saw on Storygraph by Gabby Pfeiffer, and it said, Kate Stewart, I don't know whether to give you a hug or take a swing at you. And this is exactly how I feel. I feel fucking unwell. Like I can't properly review this book. This book has broken me. I cannot possibly review this properly. So yeah, it gets 4 stars out from me. I'm gonna try read the 3rd one this month, but I don't know if I'll quite manage it, to be honest. I don't know if I'm ready to hurt again quite like I did in book 2. That is the 7 books that I read in the month of September. If you've read any of them, let me know your thoughts. I love to have it out in the comments, and I say have it out, I don't mean argue, I just mean discuss, so no arguing please. Sorry this video is out a little bit later than I thought. I basically didn't think my filming schedule through, and so it'll probably be like the 2nd week of October by the time this is going up, but I'm sure you won't mind. You can follow me on Storygraph to see what I'm reading, or you can follow me on Instagram as I always put up on my stories. But yeah, thank you so much for watching everyone. My upload schedule is Sundays and Wednesdays, usually around 6 p.m, but I'm not always on time. If you enjoyed this video or enjoy any of my content, a subscribe is much appreciated, and I will see you next week. Goodbye my angels.